Have you ever found yourself in a situation with a woman where your words or actions completely backfired? Perhaps you thought you were being kind and attentive, only to see her interest fade away. Or maybe you tried impressing her with grand gestures, but it just didn't land the way you expected. The truth is, many men make crucial mistakes with women, not because we intend to, but because we misunderstand how these actions affect the underlying dynamics of attraction and respect. And here's the reality. These mistakes don't just cost us a date or a conversation. They can undermine our self-respect, diminish genuine attraction, and even sabotage potentially meaningful relationships before they have a chance to develop. Today, I'm going to share with you 10 critical mistakes that men should never make with women, viewed through the lens of ancient Stoic wisdom, a philosophy that has guided men for over 2,000 years. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This Stoic principle lies at the heart of every point we'll discuss today. Stay with me until the end, because I'll share a profound mindset shift that could forever change the way you interact with women, and more importantly, how you view yourself as a man. Welcome back to the channel. For those who are new, we dive deep into mindset, authentic masculinity, and self-improvement through timeless philosophical principles. Hit subscribe and the notification bell to join our growing community of men committed to becoming their best selves. Let's dive into the 10 things men should never do with women, according to Stoic principles. Seeking validation. The first and perhaps most fundamental mistake men make is constantly seeking validation from women. This manifests in many ways: asking, "Do you like me?" texting repeatedly without response, or needing constant reassurance about your appearance or status. When you seek validation from a woman, you're essentially telling her, "I don't know my own worth. Can you please confirm it for me?" This screams insecurity, and as Epictetus taught, make it your goal to build inner character rather than win approval. I remember years ago, after a date, I would obsessively check my phone, wondering if she liked me, practically crafting a highlight reel of moments where I thought I impressed her. But here's what I learned. This mental habit was training me to place my value in someone else's hands. The Stoic alternative? Develop what the ancients called eudaimonia, a state of inner flourishing independent of external validation. A man who walks into a room knowing his worth regardless of others' opinions naturally commands attention and respect. Practice this. Before your next interaction with a woman, remind yourself, "My value exists whether she recognizes it or not." This isn't arrogance. It's healthy self-regard that forms the foundation of genuine confidence. Over-explaining yourself. The second critical mistake is over-explaining yourself when questioned. Let me ask you this. When a woman questions something you said or did, do you jump into a defensive, long-winded explanation? If so, you're undermining your own authority. Seneca, one of Rome's greatest Stoics, noted, "The person who knows what they want doesn't need to justify their actions to everyone." This wisdom applies perfectly to male-female dynamics. If she asks, "Why didn't you text me back yesterday?" a weak response sounds like, "Well, I was really busy with work, then my phone was dying and I was going to text you but then thought it might be too late and I wasn't sure if you were still awake." A strong, Stoic-inspired response? "I had a packed day. Good to talk to you now, though." Simple, direct, no apologetic tone. Over-explaining signals guilt or uncertainty about your decisions. A man who stands firmly behind his choices, while still being considerate, demonstrates the quiet confidence that is genuinely attractive. Remember, you don't owe detailed explanations for reasonable behaviors. Save your words for what matters. Being too available. The third mistake that undermines attraction is being constantly available. Many men believe that always being there for a woman will make her value them more. In reality, it often achieves the opposite effect. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, "Know the right time for silence, the right time for speech." This wisdom extends to knowing when your presence is most valued, and when absence creates healthy tension. When you're always available, canceling plans with friends for her, responding to texts within seconds, having no competing priorities, you inadvertently communicate that your life lacks meaning and purpose beyond her. I once reorganized my entire schedule for weeks to accommodate a woman I was dating. The result? She gradually lost interest. When I later reflected on this through a Stoic lens, I realized I had violated a fundamental principle: maintaining a purposeful life independent of others' demands. As Marcus Aurelius advised, "Be like the rocky headland against which the waves constantly break. It stands firm, and around it the seething waters are laid to rest." A man with healthy boundaries and a purposeful life naturally creates intrigue. Remember, value increases with scarcity. This isn't about playing games, it's about genuinely having a life with meaning beyond any single relationship. Arguing emotionally. The fourth critical mistake is engaging in emotional arguments with women. Here's a reality many men fail to grasp. When emotions are high, logical arguments rarely persuade. Yet men often try to win heated discussions with facts and reason, creating a cycle of frustration for both parties. The Stoics mastered emotional regulation. As Seneca wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." This simple practice can transform your interactions during conflicts. When a disagreement arises and emotions flare, most men make one of two mistakes: either matching her emotional intensity, escalating the situation, or attempting to logic her out of her feelings, invalidating her experience. The Stoic approach: first, recognize that emotions themselves aren't right or wrong, they're information. Second, maintain your composure while acknowledging her feelings. Instead of saying, "You're being irrational," try, "I can see this matters to you. I want to understand better." I recall a relationship where arguments would spiral out of control because I insisted on being right rather than understanding my partner's perspective. When I began practicing the Stoic principle of empathetic listening without emotional reactivity, our communication transformed. Remember, a truly strong man isn't threatened by emotions, either his own or others. He channels them productively, failing her tests. The fifth mistake men make is failing to recognize and properly respond to tests from women. Women, whether consciously or unconsciously, will test your confidence and character. She might tease you, challenge your opinion, or create small obstacles to see how you respond under pressure. The Stoics understood that character is revealed in challenging moments. As Epictetus said, "Difficulties show men who they are." These tests aren't manipulative. They're a natural part of how women assess compatibility and strength of character. The problem comes when men either don't recognize these tests or respond poorly to them. If she says something like, "I bet you say that to all the girls," a weak response is getting defensive. "No, I don't, I swear, I really mean it with you." A stronger Stoic-inspired response might be a confident smile and only the interesting ones. This demonstrates unshakable composure, a core Stoic virtue. I've learned that these moments are opportunities to demonstrate your character, not threats to defend against. When a woman sees that your confidence remains unshaken by small challenges, it builds genuine trust and attraction. The Stoic principle at work here is apatheia. Not apathy, but freedom from being controlled by external reactions. Practice responding to tests with calm amusement rather than insecurity. Apologizing excessively. The sixth critical mistake is apologizing excessively for minor things or for simply existing in her space. Genuine apologies for genuine wrongs show integrity and emotional intelligence, but many men fall into a pattern of apologetic behavior for simply expressing interest, taking up space, or making normal requests. "Sorry to bother you. Sorry for texting. Sorry, but would it be okay if..." The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Following this principle, if you've done nothing wrong, there's nothing to apologize for. I noticed this pattern in myself. Years ago, apologizing before asking questions on dates, apologizing for calling when we'd planned to talk. I realized I was subtly positioning myself as an inconvenience in her life, rather than an equal partner in the interaction. The Stoic correction: be mindful of when you're apologizing out of habit versus genuine remorse. Replace "sorry for calling you" with "good to hear your voice." Instead of "sorry to ask this," try "I'd like to know." This isn't about becoming less considerate, it's about expressing consideration through respect rather than self-diminishment. A man who values himself appropriately invites others to value him similarly. Putting her on a pedestal. The seventh mistake is idealizing a woman and putting her on a pedestal. This often happens early in dating. You meet someone who captivates you, and suddenly she can do no wrong. You view her as perfect, flawless, out of your league. While this might seem like admiration, it actually creates an unhealthy dynamic where you're no longer seeing the real person, but a fantasy of your own creation. The Stoics understood the danger of idealization. Epictetus advised, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them." When you place someone on a pedestal, you're making a judgment that creates inequality in the relationship. I've experienced this firsthand, projecting perfection onto someone only to feel disappointed when they revealed normal human flaws, or worse, feeling unworthy of their attention because I'd mentally positioned them above me. Practical wisdom: compliment specific qualities you genuinely admire, rather than making sweeping statements about her perfection. Instead of "you're perfect in every way," try "I really appreciate your thoughtfulness." Remember that genuine connection happens between equals. As Seneca wrote, associate with people who are likely to improve you. This requires seeing others clearly, neither above nor below you but as fellow humans on their own journey, neglecting personal boundaries. The eighth critical mistake is failing to establish and maintain healthy personal boundaries. Many men, especially those eager to please, will sacrifice their time, values, and needs to accommodate a woman they're interested in. This could mean agreeing to things that violate your principles, neglecting your responsibilities, or tolerating disrespectful behavior. The Stoics placed tremendous value on personal integrity. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth. But if someone attempts to control me through shame, I will hold my ground." Boundaries aren't selfish. They're necessary for healthy relationships. Without them, resentment grows and authentic connection becomes impossible. I remember once continuing to date someone despite her regularly making disparaging comments about my career goals. I told myself I was being understanding, but in reality, I was teaching her that disrespecting me was acceptable. Practical application: define your non-negotiables before entering relationships. What values, time commitments, and types of treatment will you not compromise on? Communicate these calmly when necessary. A strong man isn't afraid to say, "I'm not comfortable with that," or "that doesn't work for me." This clarity is ultimately a gift to both parties, chasing rather than attracting. The ninth mistake is constantly pursuing rather than creating mutual attraction. Many men fall into a pattern of chasing, double texting, initiating all conversations, making all the plans, and generally putting in disproportionate effort to keep the connection alive. The Stoic perspective on this comes from Epictetus, who taught, "Make it your study to attract people to themselves, not to you." This seemingly paradoxical wisdom holds the key to genuine attraction. When you're constantly pursuing, you're focused on getting something from her: attention, validation, companionship. This creates pressure and often pushes her away. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of man who naturally attracts interest by virtue of his character and way of being. I spent years in the exhausting cycle of pursuit before realizing a fundamental truth. Attraction cannot be forced or negotiated. It emerges naturally when there's mutual interest and respect. Practical shift: instead of asking, "How can I get her to like me?" ask, "Am I living in alignment with my values and purpose?" The former creates neediness. The latter creates authentic attraction. This doesn't mean never initiating or showing interest. It means ensuring there's reciprocity and mutual enthusiasm. If you're always the pursuer, consider whether you're ignoring important signals about compatibility. Making her your entire life. The 10th and final mistake is perhaps the most destructive: making a woman the center of your entire existence. This happens when you abandon your goals, friendships, hobbies, and purpose to focus exclusively on a relationship. You reorganize your entire life around her preferences, schedule, and needs. The Stoics understood that a meaningful life requires purpose beyond relationships. As Seneca wrote, "Life without a purpose is a wandering, non-directed life." When you make a woman your entire world, you not only place an impossible burden on her to fulfill all your needs, but also lose the very independence and purpose that made you attractive initially. I've witnessed friends completely disappear from their social circles and abandon lifelong passions after entering relationships, only to be devastated when those relationships ended. They had nothing left of themselves. The Stoic approach? Cultivate a life of purpose that exists independently of any relationship. A relationship should complement your life, not become your life. Practical wisdom. Maintain regular time for your personal goals, friendships, and activities even when in a relationship. This isn't selfishness, it's ensuring you bring your full, authentic self to the relationship rather than an empty vessel seeking to be filled. Now, the mindset shift I promised at the beginning. The core teaching of Stoicism for relationships isn't about techniques or tactics to impress women. It's about developing yourself into a man of virtue, purpose, and inner strength, someone who lives according to principles rather than reactions. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you shift your focus from "how can I get women to value me" to "how can I live a life of meaning and excellence," everything changes. The 10 mistakes we've covered today all stem from placing your sense of worth in someone else's hands rather than developing it within yourself. Remember, women are attracted to men who are already complete in themselves, not perfect but whole. A man with purpose, boundaries, emotional regulation, and self-respect naturally avoids these mistakes without having to think about them. If this video resonated with you, hit the like button and share it with a friend who might benefit. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway or a Stoic principle that's helped you in relationships. And if you're new here, subscribe for more content on authentic masculinity, purpose, and personal development, grounded in timeless wisdom. Until next time, remember the words of Epictetus. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. This is the path of the Stoic man.